welcome to Corona Cooking with Amy again. Sorry I did not post last night's video. I made a at-home pizza with an extra pizza crust that we had left over from last week, and it was totally uneventful. That's why I didn't video it. But today I'm on a break from work. I scheduled it so I could have a 2-hour break so that I wouldn't go crazy and I could put dinner on. We're gonna have slow cooker beef and broccoli. It's a Chinese recipe. It's been a staple for us for many years. We like it. It's quick and it's easy. So before I get started, I cut up some beef and I sliced it into really thin strips, so thin both lengthwise and like up and down too. You can use whatever kind of steak that you want for this, whether I usually just buy whatever's cheapest on sale, as long as it's not cube like stew meat that's already like prepackaged stew meat, or cube steak that's already been like super tenderized, because those just are not gonna be great for this recipe. But I usually pick whatever's on sale. If it is a regular size steak that's a little bit thicker, then I do like to pound it out with a meat tenderizer and get it pretty flat before I cut it. It just helps it cook more evenly, and then you get more to go around too. I also made a cup of beef broth before I turned the camera on. So our grocery store has been out of beef broth for like a month now, and I don't really understand why people panic bought beef broth, but they did. So I had to make it because luckily I had some beef bouillon in the cupboard, so I just mixed a cup of boiling water with one of the cubes, and then I got that. So we are going to start by putting the cup of the beef broth into our slow cooker. I'm using this one today. And then the recipe also calls for half a cup of soy sauce. I always buy the light soy sauce that has the low sodium because it still tastes like it has a ton of sodium. And I don't even want to think about how much like a regular soy sauce does. So just pour in half a cup in here. Don't want to dirty up another dish. That would be ridiculous. Okay. Half a cup going in here. And then we're also gonna add a tablespoon of sesame oil. I used to just make this with like regular olive oil and it tasted fine, but I do have sesame oil now. If you are using sesame oil, be sure that you don't eyeball it and you actually measure it out, because a little bit of sesame oil can go a long way. It's quite strong. So only a tablespoon of that. And then we're going to do a 1/3 cup of brown sugar in the pot. And then it said 3 cloves of minced garlic. We love garlic. So in this giant jar, because I couldn't find the little one at the grocery store last time, but we'll use it all, so it's totally fine. So I'm just gonna eyeball 3-ish cloves, plus maybe a little bit more because we like it. So there is that. And then I did forget to grab one thing. Before I hit record, I need to get a whisk. And I'm using a nice like rubbery whisk because I love this Crockpot and I don't want to mess it up. So we're just gonna whisk everything that we put in. So the beef broth, the sesame oil, soy sauce, garlic, and the brown sugar. Just make sure that's all mixed up and that the brown sugar is dissolved. And then I'm gonna dump in my meat that I've already cut. So like I said, any steak, around a pound. I went up slightly over this time, but it should be around a pound. Okay. And then I'm just gonna lightly toss to coat. Oh, another Amy hair. We eat lots of that in this house, even though my hair is pulled back. Okay, so toss it around. I've got it coated pretty well in there. This comes out so I can show you. And I'm gonna let this cook on low, and it's probably only gonna take 3 hours. Originally when I started doing this recipe, I thought, oh, it's gonna take like 4 to 6. No, it actually cooks like way faster than that. So I'm gonna put it on low for 3 hours while I go back to work. And then after the 3 hours, I'm gonna come back, use some cornstarch to thicken the sauce, and then add the broccoli. So I have frozen broccoli. You can use fresh too. Either works totally fine. And you might be more apt to find fresh broccoli right now, because I had to go to 2 different stores to find frozen broccoli, and all I could buy was the really expensive stuff because that's all that they had. So I'll see you in 3 hours or more. Okay, so it's been 3 hours. Just got done with work. I'm in my workout gear now, but we need to thicken the sauce and add the broccoli. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of sauce from the Crockpot, about like 4 tablespoons. I'm just gonna scoop some out in this little dish. I'm gonna be careful to open and close the lid quickly so that I don't let too much of the heat out, so that the sauce can thicken once we get the mixture back in. Woo! Okay, so I got some of the mixture in there. The steak looks very done. See, I told you it would cook quick. And then I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of cornstarch to the liquid that I pulled out. I'm gonna whisk it. Here, my little whisk. I washed the whisk so it does not have raw meat on it. I'm just gonna stir that, make sure it's mixed up really nice and good so that the sauce can thicken. And I'm gonna add it back into my crock pot. I'm gonna mix that up too and get the cornstarch mixture all through the pot. Realize I didn't bring the pot over too much. Okay. And hopefully that will do the thickening trick. If not, you can always add the, drain the sauce and add it to a saucepan on the stove and add some more cornstarch and whisk it. Kind of simmer it to get it to thicken up and then dump it back in if you find that it's not to your desired thickness when you go to eat it. I also need to let my broccoli cook now. So I have just a pack of frozen broccoli florets. Normally I'd buy generic, but green giant was all that I could find. So I'm just dumping them in. You could also use about 2 cups of just regular raw broccoli that's not frozen. So I'm just gonna get that in there, get it in the sauce, put the lid back on, and then continue to cook it low for about 30 more minutes, and then the broccoli should be done, cooked through. The sauce should be thickened a little bit. Like I said, if you need to pop the sauce on the stove to thicken it up with a little bit more cornstarch, go ahead and do so. I will come back when I am done for my 30-minute power walk and show you what it looks like. Okay, back from my walk and showered. It did not thicken like I had hoped that it would. Usually it doesn't for me for whatever reason, but it's still delicious, and I'm kind of hangry, so I'm not gonna bother to thicken it on the stove. A cool thing about this crock pot, if I wanted to, I showed you earlier, this thing just comes out and it's got like a thing on the bottom where you can put it on the stove to brown stuff or boil it. I'm just feeling too lazy tonight and I want to eat, so I'm going to eat this and I'm going to serve it over minute rice. I did cook some minute rice, and that will be our excellent dinner. And I hope that you try this one because it is one of my absolute favorite fast Chinese recipes to make at home.